let's get to the real business at hand here, the important stuff. When you guys walk into this gym, what does it remind you of? Anything in particular? Is it March of '87 when we handled business against the Irish? Or?
That's one bad memory, but I was fortunate enough to play here as a player at Richfield in the early '70s, and I remember last game of the year we were undefeated, and we were losing by 6, like with a minute left. And Coach Stu Starner called a timeout. I thought he was just going to tear our heads off because he was like that. He'd get right up in your face. But he was super calm in the huddle, and we ended up pulling out the game and won. And they ended up playing them in section final, too, at the old Met Stadium, the old Met Center. So I remember that when I come in here. And all the banners you guys got up here, there's a lot of good memories. And there's Jack Evans coaching here, and then his son, over 50 years, is unbelievable. And they're legends, you know. I always used to see them, they had a night off, they'd be up there scouting. I mean, they were the best scouters, I think, in the league. Very meticulous. Jimmy, too, you know. Matt, they're all up there scouting. So a lot of good memories here, and some bad ones, like you said, when you beat us in '86, '87 by 30. A lot of good basketball here.
Well, like Steve, I got to play in this gym because we were in Robbinsdale in the Lake Conference, and Robbinsdale was arguably the best team in the north part of the Lake Conference in the early '70s, and so I grew up watching those teams, and like Jefferson was the best in the south. And when I finally got to step on this floor, even though it wasn't my home floor, and I just love the colors, and I mean every place is packed. I mean, it was very exciting as a player to come here and play. We had a real good team my junior year, so I think we ended up winning that game. And then coaching with Oxton, we had a couple big wins in this gym, I remember. One of them, I mean, that Coach Kiffin's kid was on the team, I think, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that Coach Monty Kiffin really complimented Oxton in this gym after a game on how tough our guys were. I remember that, too.
Well, I just think of respect when I come in here, just obviously from the history, but as I had mentioned before with Jeff, and he's on a pedestal as high as at the height of it with how he goes about his business. All their kids always perform at a high level. Their, sportsmanship. I think this is the program that is really the epitome of all of those, to be honest with you. And I think it's, probably historic. I don't go that far back to Jack or anything, but super competitive teams do things the right way, and just a lot of respect when you come into this gym.
Yeah, that's my memory of this place too. Just everything, just first class, clean, great players, great coaching. You were treated well by administrators when you came in, and they're taking you to the locker room, and just everything. It's just a class program, and we've had so much fun competing with them over the years, and a lot of hardships in here, getting our butts whooped, but you always knew that when you were going to play Jefferson, you better play the right way, because if you don't, you're going to get it handed to you, and that's just all there's to it. So, I think it, raised the bar of, like other programs, ours included. We looked up to Jefferson as, we would like to be a program like that someday.
Certain teams that stick out to you guys, certain Jefferson teams, you guys maybe mentioned a few here or there.
Well, I was in 8th grade, and the 75 team played my high school team. And, I think it was the first round of the state.
Quarterfinals.
And my good friend's brother, Scott Starner, made a game-winning shot against Jefferson, and Jefferson could have won state that year. I mean, Robbinsdale made it to the finals and lost to Little Falls. But I remember being at that game, and it was an unbelievable game. They played during the season, too, and I went to those games as well, and it was just unbelievable competition. So I remember that 75 team, because they're known for their 76 team, of course. Everyone knows that team, but the 75 team may have been just as good.
Before you get, Jack has said that was his best all-around team.
75?
75. Big, athletic, deep. And that wasn't a team that won a state championship. He's got other state championship teams, but he says that's his, probably his best team. And I actually watched I got the tape. Do you have the tape of that game?
No, I would love it.
Yeah, I actually have it from Tom Kershell.
Oh, yeah.
This is before VCRs. I don't even know how he got it. This is like the TV broadcast
Yeah.
of that game.
I would love to get that from
And
him.
I'm no lie, Jefferson got completely jobbed in that game.
Did they?
Big time. And now,
You're not biased.
You guys were a good
I
team.
don't
No bias.
But it was it was pretty bad. And Jefferson had opened in 1970.
Well, Robbinsdale was a
Right.
pressing team, just getting all over people. Where they
Yeah,
fall
yeah.
in.
So you guys were a good team, but anyways,
I know every player from that Robbinsdale team. Like I could name the whole lineup.
do you know one call that was made during that game was a 10-second Jefferson player was
They
at
couldn't
the
get the
free throw
ball
line.
against our full court press up
No,
court.
no,
I get
no.
it.
A Jefferson player at the end of the game was shooting a free throw, and they called 10 seconds.
Oh,
I
to
don't
shoot
think
the
Shooting
free
it?
throw.
to shoot the free throw, and they called
Wow.
it. And so I was watching this ref, and it was the same ref. I don't know who this guy was. Jack Evans actually knows who it was. He was from Mankato someplace. And yeah, I don't think any.
Wow.
Have you guys ever seen that call ever
Never.
before?
Never.
Never.
Especially in a state tournament.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter. So, anyways, yeah, that was a kind of a fabled Jefferson team.
Wow.
But any other Jefferson teams that come to mind that through the years?
You know, I don't know the year of the team, but I know some of the players. So Omi and Augustine and Wheeler.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Vaudreuil played with them a little bit when he was younger and stuff like that. And that team was unbelievable. Just, again, not any Division I guys or anything like that, but just tough, disciplined, super unselfish team. They were very, very good. Very, very good teams. So that's my main memory is that team, actually, those guys.
I remember those names. He mentioned all those guys. When I played, Mundy, was it Brad? Mundy?
Brad and Tom Monday?
Tom Mundy, I remember them. Crochelle, he's a year younger than me. Lucky those guys were 75, 76ers younger than me. They probably beat us. But Lingenfelter and Hutch from the 76 team. Winham,
Yeah.
that team. Larry Winham. Rudd. He was on
John Rude.
Rude,
players.
football players.
Yeah,
Nebraska.
The younger one, they went to Nebraska, right?
Al Hutchinson.
Al Hutchinson, a lot of those guys, we got together in the summer and started playing open gym with the Jefferson guys a lot. When I was in high school, then in college, they'd come over for open gym. And then when I was coaching, the Aldridge teams and the teams you mentioned, a lot of good teams, and of course the 86, 87 team, your team. Corey Otterdahl he's here a year,
He was 86.
86 year older than you.
He coached
June.
for Steve.
Yeah, he was one of my assistants at Rosemount. A lot of good teams here. You just got to look up the banners
Yeah.
and see them. So
Great. So he's
75 team, but then
How
you
about coaching?
coaching. Well, Cole Aldridge was a freshman the last year we played, and we had a classic game where we had Everett Pettisclaw just bouncing him around the gym. And then it's pretty funny that Cole ends up being the bruiser in the NBA. My guy ended up going to NFL. But we won that game, and that didn't happen very often. That might have been the only time we ever beat Jefferson when I was coaching there. The thing that was most frustrating is you play a Jefferson team that was mediocre talent-wise, but they would not beat themselves, and we'd have superior talent and we'd lose, and that was so frustrating.
That happened a lot, with them. Seriously.
Yeah.
very
that was
disciplined,
no
fundamentally
I mean,
sound.
we tried to pressure. You try to pressure
Right.
them. They just jump stop, pivot,
Yeah.
pass it,
Right.
never get rattled. They
Yep.
turn it over. The expression on their face doesn't change. It's it's from their coaching staff. That's where they get that. You watch those guys. They coach like this.
Yeah.
How can you stay so calm? And that translated down to their players. They did their work in practice as coaches, and now the game is being played. You
Right.
could tell that's what their attitude was. So it was always difficult. To interview one, it was oh, man.
If
I'd
you
call
got Jeff
Oxton.
to stand up and bark something
Yeah.
out, then it was we
That's
did
true,
something
too.
good. We got him riled up a little
Right.
bit.
That is true.
Yeah.
Didn't happen very
Yeah.
Or
well.
if you got him to call timeout.
Yeah, exactly.
We always liken it to going to the dentist.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And we almost, in my time here, has had more talent, but it was probably 50-50 to win or not because they had a better prepared team. And, we're pretty good at what we do, but they're the best. The team that stands out to me would be that 2010 team with the Alapates and so that we were better. We had better players than Ethan Rogge that we had, and we played them in the section final. I think it ended up being a 54-49, which is what a lot of Jefferson scores were.
Yeah.
Like if we can get into the 70s, we'll for sure win. Well, you could never get into the 70s.
Right.
But they were the one team that was smart enough. We had the kid that scored 1,000 points at Creighton. He's a great three-point shooter and 6'7" kid. I think his name was Libby. Was he their point guard? Ellis, yeah. So they were the one team that was smart enough to just go get underneath Ethan and put a guard on him. And as much as we tried to get him into the post, and he couldn't score because they were smart enough to do it. And they beat us because they outcoached us, and they had, So that's the team that I remember.
Well, you also, I don't know if you're going to ask this, but you had to have a good 2-3 zone offense because that was the defense for many, many years.
Staple of theirs, yeah.
So one year I said, we're going to run 2-3 against them. I want to see how they attack it. I'm not lying. And I learned one thing they did. They took the point guard and they flashed him right down the middle of the lane when the guy had the ball in the short corner. I'd never seen that before, so I put that in. But, yeah, I'm serious. That's why we did it. I'm like,
That's
smart.
smart.
See what Evans does against 2-3.
I love it.
My senior year in 86, 87, we played zone, 2-3 zone, and people just could not score on us. And,
Right.
But that team, when I look back to that team, different than, say, my junior year when we won the state title, too. That was a good team. But my senior year, man, teams couldn't score on us. We pressed them. We mowed people down with the press. Our 2-3 zone half-court defense was good. And if teams a press never bothered us, we just mowed it down. And teams man us, they'd zone us.
You're long, you could throw over it.
We just were a good team. Like anything, a team, although Steve Stroman at Kennedy put in a triangle
Two.
at the end of the season. And we kind of struggled with that because it was just a weird defense.
Yeah.
And thank God nobody else was scouting that night. 'Cause that could have bothered us later on. But, it seemed like that team, the senior was a team that pretty much everything that was thrown at us, we just.
Who were the other guys on that team?
Tom Bata,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Nayrud, Mike Shear, Chad Jurgens.
Right.
Buddies
No,
of
I remember
mine forever.
Did they go on to play in Division III or
Division
anything?
3, yeah, all of them did.
That was at St. Thomas, I know.
Bata had a really good career at St. Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah, he could have gone to a higher level. I always kind of bother him about that.